Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25 and Text 2. Nahi asya varshmanaha pumsam varimnaha sarvayoginam vishrutau shutadevasya bhuri trupyanti me savaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Shaunaka continued, there is no one who knows more than the Lord Himself. No one is more worshipable or more mature a yogi than He. He is therefore the master of the Vedas, and to hear about Him always is the actual pleasure of the senses. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that no one can be equal to or greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed in the Vedas also. Eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. He is the Supreme Living Entity and is supplying the necessities of all other living entities. Thus all other living entities, both Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva, are subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. The same concept is confirmed here. Nahi asya varshmana pumsam. Amongst the living entities, no one can surpass the Supreme Person because no one is richer, more famous, stronger, more beautiful, wiser, or more renounced than He. These qualifications make Him the Supreme Godhead, the cause of all causes. Yogis are very proud of performing wonderful feats, but no one can compare to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is associated with the Supreme Lord is accepted as a first-class yogi. Devotees may not be as powerful as the Supreme Lord, but by constant association with the Lord, they become as good as the Lord Himself. Sometimes the devotees act more powerfully than the Lord. Of course, that is Lord's concession. Also used here is the word varimnaha, meaning the most worshipable of all yogis. To hear from Krishna is the real pleasure of the senses. Therefore He is known as Govinda, for by His words, by His teachings, by His instruction, by everything connected with Him, He enlivens the senses. Whatever He instructs is from the Transcendental platform, and His instructions, being absolute, are non-different from Him. Hearing from Krishna or His expansion or plenary expansion like Kapila is very pleasing to the senses. Bhagavad Gita can be read or heard many times, but because it gives great pleasure, the more one reads Bhagavad Gita, the more he gets the appetite to read and understand it, and each time he gets new enlightenment. That is the nature of the transcendental message. Similarly, we find the transcendental happiness in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The more we hear and chant the glories of the Lord, the more we become happy. This is the Bhaktivedanta purport. So this is from the new chapter, the glories of devotional service. The original conversation of Bhagavatam is between Shaunaka Rishi, representing all the sages assembled at Naimisharanya, and he is asking questions and seeking more transcendental information from Suta Goswami. So here Shaunaka is asking about the activities of Lord Kapila. So here he is mentioning the Supreme Lord's position. Nahiyasya varshmana pumsam. Varshmana means greatest. So the Lord is the greatest of all. There is no one who knows more than the Lord Himself. Varimnaha sarva yoginam. Of all the yogis, he is the most worshipable, or a more mature yogi, Varimnaha, a leading yogi. Vishrutau Shrutadevasya, and he is the master of the Vedas. Bhuri Trupyanti Mesavaha, and to hear about him always is actual pleasure of the senses. So the sages are eagerly hearing Suta Goswami explaining about Krishna and his pastimes, his glories. And so here Shaunaka is confirming that to hear about Krishna or his plenary expansions, always actual pleasure of the senses. So everybody has these senses, and each sense demands a certain pleasure. And so all living entities, they are running behind pleasure, running behind happiness in this world. They chase a happiness in this world. Everybody is busy. And if they are not able to get enough happiness in this planet, then they are willing to even go to other planets in search of the same happiness of the senses. And if they cannot get the pleasure that they are expecting in the other planets, their intention will be to even go higher and see if they can get something there. Like that, the living entities are chasing happiness, and they are rotating up and down in this universe, life after life, in search of the happiness which satisfies their heart. So in that search, they are sometimes going up and sometimes they are going down in the universe. This is known as, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls this as Brahmanda Brahmite. Brahmanda means this universe, and then Brahmite, the living entities are simply searching for pleasure. Why is that? That everybody, every living entity is in search of this pleasure. It's not only human beings, the birds, animals, whatever form of life that we see, all the living entities are simply searching for pleasure. And more they want to enjoy more and more of this pleasure of the senses. So they create a civilization, they create certain facilities in order to enhance these pleasures. For example, in the villages, they may not have so many varieties of pleasures. So they create cities and create innumerable facilities for enjoyment of the senses. They have cinema theaters, multiplexes, they have big wine shops, because nowadays these are available in the villages. Government has a scheme to deliver them door delivery. So that way there is some, so everybody is searching. They are thinking some object in this world will satisfy me. They think there is something that I am missing. This object has some limitations. This person has some limitations. This thing has some limitations. If I can adjust that much, then I can be happy. This is the calculation of all the living entities. Something is less, they know that. But Maya pulls them on and on, saying that you just take another 1 or 2 steps. What you are searching for is going to come in front of you on a plate. And then you can enjoy. So everybody is chasing this happiness and pleasure. But when somebody comes in touch with this transcendental knowledge. Actually, that's the purpose. Kapila Muni has descended into this world to give transcendental knowledge to the mankind. Because only men can understand, only humans can understand. Now this knowledge, by transcendental knowledge, one understands that he is trying so much for satisfaction of the senses, but all these senses are false. Whole life is chasing to satisfy the senses, but these senses are false. They are not his senses. False means these are not our senses. So this is a shocking news to the living entities. Everybody is geared up to satisfy this body, and Lord comes down to tell us, you are not this body. So the whole civilization which they have built on is on this basis that you are this body and you have to satisfy your bodily senses. But the transcendental knowledge begins with understanding that we are not this body. These senses are not our senses. Senses, real senses are inside. What we are seeing at each other, they are not senses, they are some machinery. We are watching at each other, looking at only machineries. The real senses are inside, with the soul. The soul is having real senses. Soul is a person. Soul is having senses. And soul wants that sense enjoyment. That real sense enjoyment it is wanting, but it is searching in a wrong place. Spiritual senses cannot be satisfied in this world at all. It is searching in a wrong place. It is looking for happiness, but it is searching in a wrong place. So that's why the Lord descends out of His compassion to give us the real information of how we can get that spiritual pleasure that every living entity is simply seeking, life after life. Whereas satisfying these bodily senses, however expert one may be, finally leaves one in complete dissatisfaction. There was one great yogi by name Shobhari Muni. He was actually practicing tapas, yogic exercises in a secluded place inside water body. He went deep into the water. He wanted a secluded place. And there he is practicing his yogic tapas. Of course, he commits an offense at the lotus feet of Garuda. And then one day he happens to see some two fish engaged in sexual activity. Immediately his mind gets agitated. He could not restrain his mind, and immediately he comes out and he wants to become a householder to enjoy those pleasures. And he approaches one king. But of course, as a yogi, he looks very emaciated, very ugly, so to say, externally. But he's a powerful yogi. So, finally, by his yogic power, Shobhari Muni becomes a handsome man. And then he approaches the princess of the king. There are 15 members. All of them wanted to marry him, and he marries all of them. And it is said that Shobhari Muni has expanded into 8 forms. Whereas Devahuti Bharta, that is Kardama, he expanded into 9 forms. And Shobhari Muni expands into 8 forms, and then he manages his household life. Prabhupada explains this expansion of Shaubhari Muni into 8 and expansion of Krishna into many forms is completely different. Shaubhari Muni, when he expanded, it is like he is the only one living entity, but 8 shariras he got, and through those 8 shariras one person is enjoying or suffering. And they are like television, the picture. The original, say in the original studio, somebody is doing like this. In the TVs also you will see somebody doing like this, right? So let us say you have 8 sets like that, and then in all the 8 they will be following the original, whatever is being done. So Shaubhari Muni's expansion is like that. They are not individuals. All 8 are connected to one person only, one living entity. But Krishna is not like that. He expanded into 16,108 forms in Dwaraka, and the great sage Narada Muni goes to see what's happening. And then he sees that in one place Krishna is playing with his children, one more place he's taking some food, in one more place he's taking his bath, some more place he's dealing with his wife. Like that, in each and every palace he sees Krishna is engaged in multiple activities and distinct activities. In each and every palace there is an individual Krishna. And all those Krishnas are one, and at the same time they are different. He expanded himself into individual supreme personalities. This Lord's expansions, that no human being, no living entity. A living entity maximum 8, 9. But here we see Krishna, he can expand into unlimited forms. Why only 16,000? He can expand into unlimited forms. For example, in each and every living entity, he expanded as Paramatma. Now living entities are almost Ananta, unlimited. So he is already present with each living entity. And he knows each and every living entity very closely. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that he knows the past, present and future of each and every living entity. Now can you imagine what is the potency of the Supreme Lord? Inconceivable. Look at his power. Look at his knowing potency. As Paramatma, he is present in every living entity's heart, and then he knows everything about that living entity. That is Krishna. That's why here he is saying, there is no one who knows more than the Lord himself. Nobody can know more than. For example, we all know a little bit about ourselves. What is happening inside our body, though nobody knows. Maybe a little bit of information. Here and there is some pain, some problem, then we'll come to know. There are many things that are going on. Krishna knows all these details minutely, whereas the living entity knows only partially. But then one difference is, the living entity knows his own body, but Krishna knows all bodies. Sarvakshetreshu Bharata, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi, Sarvakshetreshu Bharata. He is also Kshetrajna, but Krishna is Kshetrajna in all the Kshetras, all the bodies. But whereas living entity is also Kshetrajna, but limited to only one body. Our knowing, our capacity is very less. So Krishna, he maintains all these living entities. He knows them and he maintains them, he protects them. But it's general protection. It's a general maintenance. He gives to everybody, neutrally. He is equal to everybody. God is equal to everybody. He is not hateful to anybody, not envious of anybody. Let us say some living entity is becoming bigger, very powerful. Not that God is going to become very envious and try to crush him down. Actually, nobody can even come close to Krishna's opulences. Krishna's power, Krishna's opulence, Krishna's knowledge. Nobody can come closer. That is what we are saying. Varimnaha sarva yoginam. He is the most worshipable personality, even among the yogis. Like Shaubhari Muni we are seeing, considered one of the well-known, celebrated yogis in the Vedic culture. And then even he is no match to Krishna. So, Krishna is the most worshipable personality of Godhead. And so he is the maintainer. And he is, all other living entities are subordinate to Krishna, since he maintains them. Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasabha Bhrutya. Now when Chaitanya Charitamrita says this, Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasabha, everybody else is subordinate to Krishna. Everybody else. It could be normal Jiva Tattva living entities. It could be even Vishnu Tattva living entities. Vishnu is also a living entity, but is supreme living entity. But even Vishnu is also subordinate to the will of the Krishna, will of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in one of the songs, he sings, Tumi Sarveshwareshwara Brajendra Kumar, Tumara Ichchaya Vishve Shrujana Samhar, Tava Ichcha Mato Brahma Korena Srujan, Tava Ichcha Mato Vishnu Korena Palan. Now this is a very interesting, it's about 8 lines. I will read the translation of the this song. O youthful son of King of Vraja, you are Lord of all lords. According to your will, creation and destruction takes place in the universe. According to your will, Lord Brahma creates, and according to your will, Lord Vishnu maintains. Actually, Vishnu and Krishna both are same personality. But in the form of Vishnu, he maintains the creation, and that is according to the will of Lord Krishna. Lord Shiva destroys in similar obedience to your will, and by your wish, Maya creates the prison house of this world. Then he says, by your will, the living beings take birth and die, and by your will, they meet the prosperity and ruin, happiness and sorrow. A living entity cannot experience anything without the will of the Lord. That he says in the next, the tiny soul bound up by Maya vainly struggles in the fetters of worldly desire. Without your sanction, is unable to do anything. Now this should be the realization of the devotee, that without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, a tiny soul can unable to do anything. We cannot do anything. By the Paramatma, by his power of controlling the remembrance and forgetfulness and knowledge, actually he controls everybody. The other day I was doing some little yogasanas in the morning. That yoga teacher told me some new sequence. So while doing some 2-3 I did, the next one I am not able to remember. I am trying but not able to. And since I am not remembering, I don't know what to do. If you remember, then you can start doing something. Now your remembrance has gone. What will you do? You cannot. Actually, you are dependent on Krishna always. After some time, the Lord revealed, little memory came, and then immediately then I started doing. While doing, we think we are the bosses, we are the kings, we are the powerful yogis, yogas, all those things. But actually, if Krishna doesn't sanction, you cannot do anything. You are my protector and maintainer. Except for your lotus feet, there is no other hope for me. Now this should be our status. We should come to this stage where we can tell Krishna, except for your lotus feet, there is no other hope. There is no hope for me. Actually, all living entities are very hopeful in this world. They chase the pleasure, they fail many times, still they are very, very hopeful. They never give up the hope. This is called hope against hope. The living entities, they hope, it fails, again they hope. Hope against hope. They'll think, next time I will be successful, next time I will be successful. They're very powerful. People just goes on. So now I have given up all confidence in my own strength and endeavor. I depend solely on your will. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur is full Sharanagati. He is saying, I have given up all confidence in my own strength and endeavor. We think, okay, I'm very confident. I'll do this, Prabhu. I'll do this, I'll do that. And I can do best endeavor and all that. Yes, actually we should do. That is our offering to Krishna. But we should know that we are solely dependent on Him for any result, for any success, for anything. Even to do that endeavor also, Krishna's sanction, Krishna's blessing is required. We are so dependent on Him. So Bhakti Vinod is most poor and his pride has been leveled. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is agreeing, yes, my pride is leveled. Now he lives and dies in accordance with your will, very exalted state. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is representing ordinary jivas like us and is expressing how we should surrender to Krishna's will. So because Krishna knows more than anyone else. Nahi asya varshmanaha pumsam. There is nobody greater than the way Krishna knows. So he is the best personality to know about me. And then his direction, his will, that is the best for me. After all, Krishna is my best will-wisher, my friend, eternal friend. So obviously his direction will be the best for me. So a devotee, he surrenders to Krishna. But then, since we cannot hear Paramatma's voice, Paramatma comes in front of our eyes as the spiritual master. Prabhupada is an external manifestation of Paramatma. And whatever he says, it is meant for our well-being. That is for our well-wisher. He signs, ever well-wisher. Ever. If at all you want one well-wisher in your life forever, and that is the spiritual master. Prabhupada is the ever well-wisher of all his disciples, for everyone, anyone who believes in him. He is the ever well-wisher. So, Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, Shaunaka Muni also, Vishrutau Shrutadevasya Bhuri Trupyanti Me Savaha. He is explaining how the living entities can get pleasure. They are going up and down, that's fine, but intelligent people are advised. Philosophically inclined people are advised in the Shastra. What is that advice? You should not waste time in going up and down and getting that kind of a pleasure. Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido nalabhyate yad brahmatam upariyada tallabhyate dukkavadhanyata sukham kalena sarvatra gabhira ramhasa. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end. They should always endeavor for only one end. What is that? Which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet down to the lowest planet. It is not obtainable anywhere in these planets. And as far as the happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in due course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries even though we do not desire them. Here one important hint the Shastra is giving to the living entities, You are all searching after happiness, pleasure, going up and down in the Brahmanda. But they are saying, don't waste your time. Why? Because that happiness, sense enjoyment, you will automatically get in the due course of time. Then you may say, how is that? Then it is giving an example. The way you get distress automatically without endeavoring also. Nobody endeavors for distress, but it comes automatically. Nobody thinks today I should have fever. Of course, except in the childhood, I think. We all used to say, today I don't want to go to school. Sometimes they used to put some onions underneath here. They say it will create fever. Except that little children, nobody deliberately wants any distress, but it comes automatically. Core, the kala is powerful. It brings silently the distress. Similarly, the kala brings happiness also. So since its arrangement is done for distress and happiness, why are you again trying for it? Philosophically inclined people, intelligent people should not try for something which is already fixed. The happiness and distress are fixed. Why are you trying again and again for those? You should try something which is not obtainable in the entire Brahmanda, going up and down. See, this is the Shastra's advice. But then what is that which is not obtainable? That we will not be able to obtain on our own. It is obtainable only by the grace of a pure devotee. Brahmanda Brahmate Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai. Guru and Krishna, their mercy has come upon some fortunate living entities. They take to devotional service. And then how do they get pleasure? Prabhupada is explaining here. To hear from Krishna is the real pleasure of the senses. If you want real pleasure of the senses, of the real senses, of the soul, you want to give pleasure to those senses of the soul, then you have to hear about Krishna and from Krishna. That's why he is known as Govinda, Radha Govinda. His words, his teachings, his instruction, everything connected to him enlivens the senses. So that's why anybody who gets attached to reading Prabhupada books, hearing Prabhupada's Vani, is the most fortunate. He is traveling on the path of happiness and pleasure. Sometimes we may not feel like reading, feel like participating, but that's a temporary phase. Gradually, by the mercy of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we will also develop some taste. Like a jaundiced person go on eating the sugar cane, he enjoys the taste of sugar cane ultimately. Similarly, you go on reading Prabhupada books. Krishna's teachings, Bhagavad Gita is available, but nobody else is getting pleasure. That's why nobody is becoming devotee of Krishna. But when they read Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, they are getting pleasure, they are seeing higher taste, then they are able to attain Krishna. Their goal becomes the lotus feet of Krishna. This is possible. So that's why the key intervention, the key mercy of Krishna for this age, particularly for all of us, is his key mercy is sending Prabhupada here. And we got his books. Just you should, like a hungry man eats, some wonderful dishes kept in front of him. Similarly, we all should be like that. Very eagerly read Prabhupada books again and again. His original Vani is available, Srila Prabhupada's Vani. And nowadays they have come up with some kind of a technological solutions where you have all this Vani in one place. Just to switch on, you can just go on hearing. So devotees should give time, quality time, to hear Prabhupada, to read his books, understand Krishna, and develop our attachment to both Guru and Krishna, then we will be happy. Any questions? Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.